Hey, what do you say, Mark?
What do you say, Sam?
How do you doing here?
We're doing. How you doing? Listen, this is our podcast. This is it.
This is it.
Day 1, episode 1. You excited?
I'm very excited. You know
Little
why I'm
nervous,
excited? Because we have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, no, we do.
We do.
We have a lot to say. I wanted to open this up saying, yo, what's up? You know, that's a shout out to Frankie B, which I hope we have on one of these days. You know, he
Absolutely.
always
Good friend
brings
of
the
ours.
energy, which is what we do too. You know what I'm saying? So,
And let's not forget our good friend Jason Nappy.
He's
Big shout out to our engineer with all the behind the scenes, getting our YouTube channel and Facebook and Instagram ready to go for us.
He's on the boat right now in the Intrepid, crushing their video. If you ever see their video, right?
Yeah,
that's him, man. That's him. That's interesting, huh?
Oh, it's definitely interesting. Which is why we created this All in Focus Creators podcast, right? Yeah. Because we have a lot to talk about. We have a lot of experience that I think that not only as educators, but I mean real life stuff on how to get involved in this business. Yeah. The do's and the don'ts. Just the experiences that you and I both shared. And we work a lot of things together, a lot of events, weddings. We've been on many destination weddings together. We have a lot of stories there.
We have a lot of good times.
Yeah.
Lots of laughs, right? That's what we do. I mean, we bring good energy to people's events. And obviously I know this podcast is, 10 lanes wide. There's so many things we can discuss, but just the energy we bring to any event, I'd say we seem to crush together. I think we have great spirit. People notice that. Yeah. Well,
so, let's talk about that for a minute, how you and I first met, because there seems to be some sort of argument there. Like I
have my ideas. I think it was in
that.
Belmar at that where was it? I forget specifically where, but it was at Belmar. I was your second shooter doing photo. Mm-hmm. It was probably like negative 1,000 degrees, and it was freezing. But
do you remember what happened that day?
I do.
Tell us.
You're talking about
a little first
slip
aid?
And slide? Yeah. The maitre d', she didn't want to be bothered that day. She, we won't name names, right? But now she, you know me. I'm super nice guy. Like I'm like, hey, what's up? How are you? And she's just like,
Yeah, she didn't want to be bothered.
Okay. Yeah, a little weird, but.
I think on future episodes, when we get into, and I want everybody to realize that this podcast is not going to be just about weddings. Yeah. This podcast is going to be about everything from creating social content to being a photographer, a videographer. We're going to bring in, like you said, Frank Beyond a DJ. If somebody wants to get into how to even get involved in that entertainment. Yeah. We have many aspects. Dealing with people.
Dealing with that maitre d'.
Correct.
I got to tell you, she stumbled, slipped, and fell up the steps. You know what I'm saying? And probably heard a little bit of her little hip action went out, and it wasn't too good. But I tried to help her up, and you would have thought I was shaking hands with a go. She didn't want my help. She was a little miserable, but you saw I was a hero that day, and I tried, and you got me back. So
and I think that resonated with me a lot because that was the first time you and I met. Yeah. And a lot of people don't know that prior to me becoming a full-time photographer, I was a police officer for many years.
That's true.
And just to give you a little background on that, I was a forensic photographer while I was in the detective bureau. Always had a passion, for the camera. When I was in the military, I'd be the guy with the camera. I always remember watching my dad take pictures at events, so I was always intrigued by taking pictures. I didn't really know what the heck I was doing, but I always enjoyed capturing those moments.
Well, this was before people had cell phones, right? I mean, everybody's a photographer.
Come on now, I'm older than you. This was way before that. Yeah,
I'm trying to listen.
We're talking the film days, okay? You take the pictures, develop.
Get me in the dark room there,
comes back, you're like, oh, is that what I took? Oh, all right.
Oh, wow, I left the lens cap on.
Yeah. So anyway, getting back to that, I wanted to do something after police work, and I started shooting weddings in 2008. And, we've been going strong ever since. But, more so we got into so much more than just weddings, you and I, separately and together. Yeah. So I want to, part of this podcast moving forward is to actually bring out all of those aspects of content creating, how to get into this business. You might want to be a real estate photographer. You might want to be a portrait and headshot photographer. Yeah. Just like what you're doing. I like to call Mark the hybrid. Mark can shoot still photography, and he also, explain your videography as well.
Bodies of water here, you know what I mean? But, well, first of all, I can't help but notice in my, just looking around here, I noticed you chose your 24-105 lens for your camera, and did you notice I did the same thing?
I did not.
We're like simpatico.
See that?
I realize that. How about that, right?
There you go.
How about that?
And we have two different brands of cameras. And again, we will talk about equipment for sure. So stay tuned for upcoming podcasts. We have changed our equipment out how many times over the past few years? A lot.
Yeah, 3, maybe 3.
Maybe more than that. I know I have. I mean, I started out with Canon.
Brands too. I mean,
that's what I mean.
Yeah,
like the different brands, the different lenses.
All those.
That's a podcast
MPB,
episode in and of itself, right?
Yeah, I was trying to sell equipment. KEH, MPB was going to give you the better deal.
I know, right?
B&H, who knows?
You could rent equipment now.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is a good idea if you don't know what lens that might work for you.
Right.
So tell me about you, Mark. How did let's let the audience here know how you got into.
Well, I'm Mark. 2 hobbies. I like to go walk on the beach in the evening and all that good stuff, and I like to watch TV. No, I started out, man, right out of high school. I graduated in 2013, which, I mean, now it's like over 10 years ago. It's kind of scary. My back hurts a little today. But
young guys.
No, I don't know, man.
I know.
Yeah, but we were like, growing up playing video games. Mom would be like, "You're sitting like this, playing games and stuff." Now I'm
watching
my chiropractor might be watching. I don't know. But I started out. I worked for a DJ company, believe it or not, like right out of high school, or maybe a year after or whatever. But I started doing like really simple like photo and maybe some highlight video for them. For a couple years, and then that kind of turned into working for the photographer that worked hand in hand with the DJ. Before you know it, he started kind of taking me under his wing, doing some stuff for him. So I was doing photo, video for him, and eventually I just kind of created my own business. I just went to OCC. They have like their film program's weird. It's more like news oriented, so I had to take like news classes and stuff like that. That's not really my cup of tea. I'm more of a coffee guy, you know what I'm saying? I hate them. But, so I, after doing that, I got my feet wet with that, but it really wasn't for me. I took the entertainment route, you could say, and, weddings, events, whatever that might look like. I started kind of doing some on my own, branching out, which was a little scary at first. Like, a lot of people, they don't really know, like, what next step to take, and there's really no handbook for this.
There's no handbook.
There's really not. You kind of just are like, what's everybody else doing? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We look up some stuff. We're like, what should we do? But you just kind of figure it out along the way. My biggest advice is your best experience is hands-on. I mean, that's how it is for me personally. So, I need to go out there, shoot stuff myself, and then you're like, all right, I can get this. You could watch YouTube videos and stuff, which is also important. But, once you're there and you're engaging with the client, game changer. I mean, and then when you work with people that and you like, you know what I'm saying? I could work with anybody, but when you work with somebody that shares the energy, it's like that's what makes it's like, are we even working? You know what I'm saying? Like,
and we've said that many times when we show up on, or in the middle of an event or a wedding, we're like, this is unbelievable how we're like, we're able to do this, right? But I would like to say too, like you touched on something as well. There's no handbook. No. But you have podcasts like the one we're doing today, which hopefully will be able to contribute to that. But there's a ton of YouTube videos out there. There's a ton of tutorials on just about everything. Yeah. But until you actually do it yourself and find out what works for you, like not everybody can be a wedding photographer. True. Not everybody could be, wants to fly a drone, right? Yeah. So there's so many aspects to, what we do in this photography, video, content creation type of world that you really have to, do you want to find your niche, or do you want to like have a broad spectrum? It's like for me, for instance, my Instagram page is MTC Photography.
Yeah, you got to act, man. We got to talk about that maybe another time.
Yeah, that's another. That is a separate episode.
Like you got hit by a bus and he ran back over you.
Yes, correct.
He's all right though. He just broke
broke a hip maybe on that one. But
the lady from Belmar, hold on.
That's another experience though that we can talk on a future podcast, because what I went through to get my page back, had I known what had to have happened, would have been done in 1 or 2 days. Yeah. But it took 35 days for me to figure that out. And I did have some advice from people, but it was just one thing, and we'll talk about that later.
Well, I mean, and just to touch on that, I mean, you have a better chance of climbing Mount Everest in a tank top than getting your account back, because that shit.
It was almost impossible.
Yeah.
And
because I've been hacked before too. Not to that extent. My Facebook got hacked once, and there goes the Facebook page with it and everything. It was like, and then I got it was crazy. I got review bombed by bots. They weren't even real people.
Yeah.
You could just, it was so one level deep, and basically they were leaving the most abstract negative reviews. I had 5 stars for all this time, and I'm not saying oh, I'm the greatest thing ever, but this is my business, and these are real people. You know what I mean? I'm real. Like I'm not paying nobody to write reviews.
You mean you didn't buy followers?
No.
Really?
I spend all my money on coffee.
Yeah, I know.
So, but whatever. But yeah, so I got all these like bad reviews. I didn't realize what was going on. It happened late at night, and then finally when I saw all these like the most, I couldn't even pronounce the names. It wasn't even real. You click their profile, it was like empty. But I got really screwed with that. I had to shut off reviews. To this day I can't fix it.
And again,
so nobody can leave a review. But
I think that's why this podcast is going to be successful, and I think it's why we started it, is because we have so much to tell. Out of all the years that I've been doing this, and the amount of years that you and I have been doing this together, we've had so many crazy and wild experiences. From traveling together and just working different events and dealing with people and weddings and contracts and attitudes and everything. And I think what most people don't know is before they get into this business is what to expect.
Right.
And I think that if we can continue to I don't like to use the word educate, but we could just inform people of what to expect when you exactly
just to
share our experiences and inform you of these are things that could happen on any given Sunday, and this is what we did to correct it or make it right.
Right.
So
I mean, down to anything. I mean, you name it. Because we're well versed in this industry enough to be able to share a bunch of expertise. We might like dance a little bit around somebody else's. Oh, like this is what I do exclusively. Like we'll do weddings, we do business content, we work with high end clients. It all depends on where we're at. But there's so many stories in and of itself to just share in all these different circumstances. But there's a lot to share. So I am looking forward to this overall podcast of just kind of explaining what we do and just, I think people if you're anything like me and you're driving to an event and you're listening right now, you're like, I'm trying to kill time, man. I got to get to this event. It's going to take me an hour. I don't want to stare at the same yellow lines in the road for, 60 minutes. So let her voice.
And I tell you, I myself, and I'm sure you have too, I've Googled and went on YouTube, buying a new camera, looking at a new cell phone. Almost everything that I do, I research. Yeah. And
I'm bad at that. I do, but yeah.
I think I just feel at this point in my career with what we're doing, it's our turn to give back a little bit. Yeah. And to, inform people of what we've learned over the years and how we do it and how we have fun doing it. You and I have a lot of fun.
That's what's crucial, man. Listen, I could work with anybody. I recall a wedding that, I think this was either during COVID or I think it was just before COVID, actually.
COVID, that's a whole nother thing. We won't talk about that.
We're not allowed to say the C word. No. All right. So, but we hate COVID. No.
But again, we survived.
Events,
a lot of people shut the doors and, went on to other trades and other jobs.
I had a really cool Louis mask. I know you're a brand guy.
I don't want to go back.
Appreciate that.
I do appreciate it,
but we're not going back.
I just don't want to go back to those days.
We'll leave that there. We're not gonna. Yeah, but I'll never forget. In terms of getting along with people and working with people, you're always gonna again. I always prefer to work with you off the bat. Why not? We crush events. It's like you look at the time. Oh my God, we're done already. This is crazy. Like always get good reviews. Now, that's not always the case. I recall working with a photographer once. And it's just what I do. I show up to an event, do my thing. Hey, how are you? Nice to meet you. I'll try to get in touch with them before the event too. But the day of is, hey, what's up? We're working together. Let's crush this, right? Why are we gonna? Some people want to be like, oh, you can't have my shot, and it's like, all right, well, we're all shooting for the same client. I'm not trying to steal your stuff, whatever. How it can go. Yeah. So I met the photographer. We're kicking it off, and we're crushing it. Bing, bang, boom, doing our thing, and the bride says to us, she's like, wow, so, how long have you guys worked together for? And I'm like, 12 minutes ago. And she was like, I'm sorry? I was like, yeah, we just met today. She goes, the energy you guys share, it's just she goes, this is amazing. You could have fooled us, everybody, all the moms and all the sisters. Oh my God, I thought they were working together and whatever, which is cool. So that's the kind of, attitude you have to have going into these things and energy, good energy, good vibes. Right. That's what people look for because they're going to feed off that. I'm big into that. I'm a big believer in vibes and energy because that's truly what the bride's got a big day ahead of her. All this planning's come to fruition, right? This is it. We're here to help guide that day. And why are you going to argue with other people? You want things to go smooth. And that's what we're here for. Keeping a smile on our face. That's just all natural. You know what I mean?
And I think, you know, again, I know we could talk weddings all
Yeah,
day.
we can.
And a lot of some of the
Yeah.
podcasts that are out there are really geared towards wedding photography.
Yeah.
And as much as I do want to talk about wedding photography, because we have a lot to talk about,
Right.
you can go in all different directions with, you know, talking about the brides, the contracts, you know, the everything. I don't even want to get into it right now because I want to save that for later.
Correct. For a
But what
specific episode.
I want to do for us is to really show, you know, people that if you want to be a drone pilot, how to become Part 107 FAA certified like myself and other people. You know, what can you do with the drone? You know, do you want to be a real estate photographer?
I could tell you what you could do with the drone in New Jersey. You could fly it around. You could fly it around. Really, I mean, just wherever you want over military
I knew
bases.
somehow that was going to come up in
You
this
know,
podcast.
yeah,
The Jersey
yeah.
drones, yeah.
The Jersey drones. Listen,
You know how many times
I
I
collect a little bit of silver and go. I got a bar coming in the mail from my guy, and it's the New Jersey drone invasion.
Oh my
I got to
God.
show it to you. It's
That should
pretty
be a
neat.
T-shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's what it was, right?
It
Sorta.
was. Right. You know how many text messages I got from like just friends? You know, hey, is that your drone up? Yeah, I have 500
Yeah, mine's
drones.
flying over the
Yeah.
Verrazano right now.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like
Oh
2
my God,
degrees
right,
out.
yeah, we
That's where we were coming from.
Right,
We
we
should
did
talk about that, right? We're coming from what event in the
You're going
city
to talk.
was
We're
it?
going to go right into drones today. Is that
Are we
what we're
going
doing?
right into Tao? We're going right into the pitch
All
black.
right, talk
Tao.
about the Verrazano drone real
Well,
fast,
that's
and then
where
we'll
we were
move
coming
on.
from.
Go
We were
ahead.
coming from that event it was Tao, right?
Yes, it was a
And then
corporate event in New York. Yeah.
We got detoured. We had to go through the was not the Battery Park Tunnel no more, whatever it's called, but the Battery Tunnel, whatever. Coming around, BQE, taking the Verrazano. I'm getting texts from my friend. Drones are all over the place, and I'm like, what? I was like, yeah, I like heard there was like 2 up in North Jersey. He's like, no, they're like all over right now, and I'm like, really? And I'm texting, and I said, and I look up, and all of a sudden, here we are over the Verrazano. This big freaking refrigerator drone. It was huge.
I was driving.
Huge.
And I was like, I wanted to open up the sunroof and have you get out there with your
I was thinking
camera.
about
Or
it.
something.
Yeah, we were thinking about it.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
just
yeah.
a little cold that day, but I was like,
That was the beginning of it.
that was
the
then all of a
beginning
sudden,
of it.
ever since then, you just saw like 8 billion drones a day,
Yeah.
which was crazy because that affects our industry, right? Because you know, I guess now they came out and said like, oh, like most of it was all like we all knew about, like it. You know, is really no news. Like they were making news out of it, but they were just like, oh no, they're just flying around, whatever. I don't know if I believe that, but point
I
is,
don't know if we'll ever really know.
well, that hurts our industry because now I'm flying around doing a real estate shoot, and some lady's like staring at me, like I'm like, she's gonna pull out a shotgun and shoot this thing out of the sky, like. And I looked at her eyes, like she's looking at me, and I'm like, oh, I'm doing real estate, and she's just like, oh, okay, like, oh, you know, with all these drones going around here, I'm like,
Yeah.
don't worry, like, you know, I'm not spying on you, Nana, like, you know,
Yeah.
it's cool, but
And again, that can be an entire podcast, entire episode just on drones. And they're out there, right? There's a ton of YouTube tutorials on which drones you should get and all that, and we'll touch on that.
yeah,
I think for us, it's our time to really show people how you and I have evolved in this industry, all the people that we've met, and we've met a ton. And we're going to bring people on. Our idea is to not just have Mark and I speak about what we've done and what we've learned, but we also want to bring in other creators and other vendors and have them
people we met along the
speak
way.
as well, right, about what they do and how they can do it. We have makeup artists, we have hair, we have DJs, we have Jason. Here's a guy that has a career on the USS Intrepid in Manhattan.
Yeah.
Most people wouldn't even know that job exists,
Right.
what he does. I didn't know until he had the job.
Yeah.
Right? So we have so many people.
he's crushing it there. Too.
He's crushing it. Yeah, he's doing
I'm not
really
wearing
well.
a hat, but hats off to him, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
because dude, he's like a machine.
Yeah, he is.
We
got
to get him on. We'll get him
and
on.
congratulations to Jason. He just had a baby.
Yes,
Right?
yes, very true.
Yeah.
His
So,
hands are
but
full.
again, just like Jason, and how about the network? The network of people in our group right now.
Yeah.
If you had a job tomorrow,
Yeah.
you know you could call somebody.
Oh,
Right?
100%. Yeah, that's the beauty of this thing. But not only we know it as the network, but it's a solid group of people, like-minded like us, that you can count on. You don't have to worry about anything shady going on. Like, it's not like is this guy gonna, like, we know these people. It's like family, right?
Right.
So to have this network of, I just got a call yesterday, like for photo, whatever, and like, like it's a small wedding. Do you think, I was like, yeah, and I'm like, well, do you have a DJ? First thing, I'm like, do you have a DJ? And they're like, oh no, we don't. Already got somebody. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I could name people. I got you. You know what I mean? Like, so just knowing that, and you can kind of keep it within the network and the family that way, everybody's happy, right? And
Yeah.
it's the money's going to people that we know and we love to work with anyway. So,
Right. And then there's the other side of this industry that we're going to also talk about. And we have so much fun, and there's a lot of great things that have come our way. We're very fortunate. But there's also a lot of bad, a lot of letdowns. There's a lot of no's, especially right now in 2025. I think like every vendor that I know is putting up Instagram reels like, where's all the brides and where's all the events? There's so many people. It's a saturated field. There's no doubt.
Now, ever since the C word.
Yeah, I know. Ever since that, you're correct. It is a saturated field, but there is still plenty of work out there.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's not going to come to you and just knock on your door and say, hey, I'm here.
Yeah.
You do have to go out and get it. And we're going to help you and find ways to show you how to do that.
Yeah, it's true. No, it is. It is tough to, to book some jobs sometimes, especially during these months are just terrible.
Yeah.
I want to go to Florida. Like, I don't want to be here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
it's tough living in Jersey with gray skies and gloomy days, and you're not getting the work booked, and you're wondering, am I good enough?
Yeah, can I pay the heating bill? No.
Right. Yeah, can I pay my mortgage?
No, you're good. No, it's never, luckily it's never that bad. Luckily. But, it's just like that. That's when you have nothing better to do but to sit there and think about all that stuff. But then, like, once summer comes and you're moving and grooving, it's like, it's perfect.
Right.
And
then look how fortunate we are too. Like I was able to, while I was still a police officer, get hired by one of the number one stock photography company in the world, Getty Images. Right.
Yeah, that's a big. We haven't talked about you.
Well,
come on now.
We're still talking about the both of us.
Well, yeah, but
but again, Getty Images has done what has led me into a whole nother world of entertainment photography, with celebrities and concerts and events, but you too have your own little celebrity there that you've worked with for quite a bit, and most people will talk about the MTV Jersey Shore later on.
Yeah.
But so you understand how that has evolved also for your own business, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So it's interesting, and there's people out there that want to know, well, how do you become a Live Nation photographer? How do you become a Getty Images photographer?
Yeah.
So
start clapping those ruby slippers.
Yeah, I mean that's part of it.
Yeah.
Because like I said, the field is saturated. You go to an event, a very high-end event in the city, you're talking 10 to 20 photographers are there. And they all work for different publications.
Yeah.
Not just Getty, not just Shutterstock, the other company, but every outlet that you can think of is there.
Well, it really is too. It's all who you know. It really is. You know what I mean?
True.
That is huge. I think so for the most part. Like,
yeah.
I mean, you get the right connection with people and you're the right person for the job.
Yep.
And you're, you have the confidence, the talent, the ability to execute.
Yep.
Like, everybody's going to want a piece of that.
Agreed.
Because, like, they know it works. Like, hey, this guy's great. Use him. Boom. You know what I mean? And then it's like, it is interesting, though, because we could also get into the aspect, too, on this podcast of, like, running your own business.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's a fun one, man.
Right.
That's a good one.
Right. People want to know, what does it take to run a business? How do you sustain it? Do you have to file taxes? Do you have to form an LLC?
Yeah.
Do you want to be a sole proprietor? Right.
Yeah, I had to do all that stuff. Like, it's a little, they don't teach you this in school, by the way. So it's like, I can get into all that. But, point is that, it is, there's a flip side to, having your own business. You have everything you do front end, you're talking to clients, this and that, shooting the events, editing the events, but who's like doing all the other stuff, the tax end, like you mentioned, contracts, writing up contracts. I used to write my own contracts up on Google Sheets or whatever, you know what I mean? Invoices and everything. I was like, you have like Crayola 64 pack writing stuff out. Do you want it in purple? Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, you come far and you eventually learn, oh, hey, like, hey, I use Pixie Set. Look at this. This is great. You could upload your galleries to it. Pixie Set plug. Make me an ambassador or something. Come on. But like, yeah, they're great, man. You upload your photos, all the galleries there. You can even do video. Yeah. And all your contracts, invoices, all streamlined.
So Mark, you mean to tell me you're just one person doing this all? You're not we?
Yes.
There's no we in Espo Productions?
You have the W upside down. It's me. No,
yeah, that's right. Right. That's you.
But
how many people, though, do we know? We know that put out there in there, and again, I'm not trying to put anybody down, but the old we do this, we do that, and we know they're just one person, just like we are.
Yeah.
I'm one person. Yeah. Do I have a network of friends that help at every wedding and every event? Absolutely. Do I edit my own photos?
Yeah.
98% of the time,
but
I'm editing my own photos.
You're the guy. You're editing. You're on the phone. Trying to edit. Like it's all. It's like, everything's on
Well,
fire. You're on a unicycle.
You want to talk about multitasking? When I was back in the police department, here's the
Yeah.
funny thing, right? So, and I can talk about it now because I'm retired, so I can't get fired.
All right.
But and they all know too. My department, I have to tell you, when you want to start a second career as a cop,
Yeah.
Almost every police officer has a second career, almost,
Right.
because of the schedules that we used to work, right?
Yeah.
So I'd be in the detective bureau, and there'd be a lady on the line maybe talking about, her home was burglarized. Are they sending out a detective to take fingerprints? And I'd be answering the phone, yeah, we'll be out there in a little while. Just don't touch anything. And on the other end, I'd be like, so what's the wedding date? Okay, yep. Yeah, I think I'm going to check that out. Yeah, I think I'm available.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're good. Okay.
Yeah.
So
It's
I
fine.
was like
Everything's fine.
multitasking in
Yeah.
the detective bureau trying to get this business off the ground,
Yeah.
and it was funny. But if I didn't have the help from my department, they were really supportive. Like when Getty Images came, and you talk about being in the right place, the right moment.
Right.
It was a very dear friend of mine that got me that hook, and she told me there's an opportunity for you to go into Manhattan and interview for this position. You should take it. Yeah. And I was like, this is an opportunity I can't give up. So
Manhattan's like that stage too that everybody wants to be a part of. You know what I mean? Like
I
if
love
you could
it.
post to say like, I feel like I'm thinking what everybody else thinks. Like, oh, like New York, like big game. You know what I mean? Like big game animal. Like it's New York. Everyone wants to be like.
You and I love New York.
Yeah.
Right. We go there all the time.
I used to go all the time, just take pictures of all the architecture. I'm into that. But like, I don't even have time for that anymore. I'll take pictures. I'll be like, I have a buddy of mine that lives in the city. He's like, he's great. He takes me around everywhere, and it's just like, cool. Like he knows the subways like blindfolded. And I'll be like, oh, I got to edit these. I never get around to it anymore. But that was like the OG fun stuff to do. But now, now it's a little bit, we're shifting it. Like now we're going there for work, doing stuff. And
different, yeah.
I mean, we got some good clients, man. You picked up some good people in New York.
Yeah, again, and I think it's all because of, taking that opportunity. Like that opportunity came for me to go to Getty. I went to my boss and said, look, I have to take this opportunity.
Yeah.
Those other events that you're talking about, those contacts that we've made in Manhattan, these big corporations, it's all about our positivity, our networking ability, and what we deliver to these clients. Because they've been coming back to us now for how many years now? We've been doing the big event, for Authentic Brand Group.
Yeah.
They're one of the largest brand companies in the world, I think.
That's Tao. That was the
and they love us. And there's 650 to 700 people that take over Tao every late November, early December, and it is wild. And talk about event photography and how you have to be dialed in a space that is so dark you can't see your hands in front of you.
Oh, dude,
and like, how do you light up the space? Well, if worst comes worst, use your iPhone.
Yeah, we made it
put the
work,
flashlight
man.
on.
Yeah, I had my little light. I had my little crusher. I was trying to stay by the screens with DJ Reach. He was the man. He was a cool guy.
DJ Reach.
He was awesome.
Shout out to DJ Reach.
Yeah, he was shouting us out that party, man.
He's
He was
awesome.
like crushing the music, everything. But yeah, I was hanging out near him, just getting crazy footage because his music, he was crushing it, man. All these people like to have fun. You know what I mean? And even too, you made a point. You're like, again, like how we deliver and like what sets us apart. Maybe from the other guy. You know what I mean? When we did that Amex event and you were taking the headshots, right? Yeah. People were like, nobody likes headshots. I shouldn't say nobody likes headshots, but nobody's like, oh, gee, I'm taking headshots today. Right. Like, let me do a backflip.
They're not professional models.
No, and like people are just like, oh, great. You know what I mean? Like, can I take a selfie? But like, so, what we execute right from the beginning.
We set the tone.
We set the tone because 2 hours later, people are coming in. It looks like a Disney Channel movie. Yep. People are coming in all like cheery and smiling.
There's like, a line out the door waiting for them to get in and get their headshot.
Yeah.
It's because we set the tone. And we set the tone in almost everything you and I do. Right. And as photographers and videographers and creators, I think we have to. That's why the number one question I get a lot, have you ever had bridezillas? Honestly, no, I haven't. And have I had some brides that maybe might be difficult to work with? I don't consider that a bridezilla. No. And the reason why is communication. Yeah. And like I said, prior to even becoming a wedding photographer, I think I told you this story, and I tell everybody this story, even when I first meet my clients. Yeah. I did the old Facebook poll. How many of you brides out there that got married within the last 5 to 6 years liked your wedding photographer? And the response back was awful. The response back was so bad that I was like, do I want to get into wedding photography? This is terrible.
Yeah.
And
not a lot of love, man.
No, not a lot of love. But I found out one of the main reasons why was the lack of communication. And it all starts at that first meeting when you meet your bride and groom. Yeah. Because nowadays when you're meeting these couples, you're not meeting with, mom and dad typically. It's usually just the bride, her fiance, and you.
Yeah.
So you have to set the tone right then and there, and not every client is for you. That is key. Not every client is for you.
It's true.
And you have to be willing to take no, to say no. Or actually, you have to be willing to accept no.
Yeah.
And also to say no.
Yeah.
Because
Okay,
we're going to
Nancy
get
Reagan. No, just kidding.
easy there. Was that
Hold
what
on,
Nancy
no,
Reagan?
that was
called?
drugs. That's okay. Yeah, Nancy Reagan.
Well, we
Say
can
no.
get into that podcast. We can get into that episode on another topic later on getting into contracts and valuing your worth.
Yeah.
Because in this field, you will be made to feel like you are worth zero with some of the people that you will encounter.
Well, and you know what, too? I'm going to add to that. I'm going to tell you. This is where
Please.
social media is, amazing, but everything casts a shadow, right? So it's everything is as good as it could be bad. And,
Correct.
and I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with social media, and everybody's got to beat to their own drum, but I'm going to tell you, man, one person might be posting the hell out of something, and they're really, their business is booming, and they're they're really painting a picture. Because really, social media is a facade. It really is,
facade.
and I'm not
Yep.
saying it's
I agree.
untrue, but and this is huge because this is for me. Sometimes I just still have to work on this. It's just because and I'm terrible with posting. I have been. I'll be completely honest. So, and it's something I got to work. You're really good at it, by the way. I got to rub shoulders with you before we leave. But
I try.
because it is so crucial because for two reasons. One, yes, you want to promote your business, show people what you do, but the next guy might be posting 3 posts a day, and it's just I can't keep up with that.
Yeah.
Look at everybody like that. Am I not? Do I suck? Do I suck because
Right.
this guy's crushing it? No, it doesn't mean that. It means he's good, and it means you're good. You know what I mean? It's just,
I think we
it
want to
gets lost.
compare ourselves so much to other
So
people,
easy to
and
do
we
that.
we quickly forget the talent that we have, the people that we built around us, and I think that says a lot. But we're human.
Right.
We're emotional, and we get into it.
Yeah,
So-
it's hard to, and that goes, you could really get into that on any level. It doesn't even have to be just for our industry, but, it's social media. It's as good as it could be bad, and it goes both ways. You just got to find the right balance and, make sure you post. But just because you're not posting 5 times a week doesn't mean you suck, right? So
So,
it's
Mark,
always something to.
we created this podcast for a reason, and that is to talk about so many different things. And I think we did talk about it quite a bit during this first episode, and I'm glad episode 1 is finally out there because we're very excited about it. We want to keep this going.
Yes, definitely.
But what are some things that as we wrap up here for our first episode, what are some things that you want to talk about in a future episode?
Specifically, or just a couple specifics?
Yeah, a couple specifics.
Definitely the network of who we work with because I value
important.
the hell out of those people and
Yes.
just, I appreciate them so much. And there's so many different people that do so many different avenues
Yeah.
of photography, videography.
100%.
So we appreciate that. Definitely want to talk about them. I'm excited to discuss, venues, different venues we work at and how we can, crush any situation and, wherever it might be. But
Right, and
we
can I-
work with these people.
Can I just touch on that real quick?
Yes.
And that's a very important thing. We've gone to so many places. We went to Key Largo. We've been to back-to-back Vegas weddings. There's nowhere where you can if you are a creator in your mind and you know what you're doing, you can go anywhere.
Yep.
You can go anywhere. So don't think that just staying in New Jersey is where you have to be, or if you want to expand it to I won't talk about the destination weddings right now because again that's another episode.
Yeah.
But we've been to a lot of places, and myself have been to a lot of places. But I totally agree with you there.
Yeah, no, it's true, and it's just being able to adapt to any situation like that, but it's so much fun too, those destinations. So any venue, we make.
And it's not a vacation, all of it.
Well, no, I mean,
We make it one, but it's a lot of work that gets
Oh,
involved.
it is,
You have to remember
more heavy
quite
work involved.
Yes.
because you're transporting all your stuff.
All your stuff, backing up all your images before you even get on that plane. There's so many things to talk about, and again, that could be another episode. So,
but even just the venues, like we mentioned, we have such good relationships with so many of these venues all
lot.
over New Jersey,
outside
of New Jersey, and I think that's kind of cool. I love to talk about that, and those are probably my top 2 at the moment that I could think of.
Yeah, and I'm excited too to bring on some guests that we're going to have. Right,
Yeah.
we're going to bring on some other vendors and that work with us.
Yeah.
I also want to bring in what's the new thing now? Social content creation at weddings.
Yes.
And
we
met a few of those. We want to bring them on there because they may not want to get into the full blown wedding photography aspect of it, but they're still doing their thing, and there is a place for them. And I got to work with one myself, and I have to say she was awesome. She wasn't intrusive. She was doing her thing. We all worked well together.
Yeah, she was sweet.
So
She's a cool
there's plenty of work out there, and I think that's part of what I'm looking forward to expanding this podcast is to really reach into our pockets, reach into our camera bags, and bring out all the experiences that we've had, because we have so much to talk about.
I know we do.
And this is just the beginning.
And we keep saying it only because we know it. We gotta break this up and share it out in like little nice pieces here. But no, we're excited for it, and
we're excited.
I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, we can be your go-to when you're going to your next event. That's you know what I mean? And you could let us take you to the finish line, right?
I hear you. So again, so the all in focus,
home.
Right?
Those late night drives, 1 a.m. at my home.
1 a.m.
Yeah.
I love it. So All in Focus Creators Podcast, we hope you like it. We want you to subscribe to our channels. We're going to have our Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube pages up and ready and rolling. Yep. Please share this with your friends. And if somebody's looking to get into this business, we are here to help. We look forward to your reviews, and we look forward to episode 2.
Cool. Sounds good, man.
Take care.
Peace.
Thank you.